y'all to hear me. Before we dive into SQL Server, into PowerShell, we're going to go over to SQL Server for a second and just show you some things so that you get comfortable with the environment. So if you're in here and you've got SQL Server Management Studio open here, I've got 2008 R2, what we're all used to. If you click on Databases, if you hit F7, you can see the Object Explorer details. And this is really important. This came out with 2008. I don't think it was there for 2005, if I recall correctly. This is a really important thing to have. First off, it's got multi-select. Just highlight things, and you can grab multiple and do an action with multiple objects instead of just one. Just as important, or more important, is it's got this list of all these different properties that you can see from a database. So, things like date created, we could, if that's important to us, we could pull that in over here. When I'm in here, I'm on my local host, my R2 instance. I click on Databases, and then I see my list of databases, and I've gone ahead and selected to see the data space used, index space used, and space available. I can also pick up size as well. There, seems like 100 different things that we could go ahead and look at if we wanted to. I'm going to pull this in real quick so that you can hopefully all see it. So I can get all this information about the databases. I point this out because these are properties, and this is information you can access in PowerShell. So all this size information, you're able to get to it when you're inside of PowerShell. And if you want to be able to interact with multiple databases or multiple instances, then you'll be able to do that with PowerShell, and you'll know what you can go looking for. So if you didn't know that you can get the date created or the last backup date, I'm just going to remove date created. Here's your last backup date. So if you didn't know that you can get that, well, you can get that from your databases. I'll go ahead and pull it off there now. So when you go into PowerShell and you're trying to find out, well, what can I do? Well, browse around here and you'll be able to see things. When I click on, let me go back up here for a second. When I click on databases here, it's showing me all my databases and not too much. But when I click here, another way that you can see a lot of the properties are right down here. And especially with the 2008 version, when you go and you look at a database and you do a dir on it, it's mapped to get child item, but really it's just, you're doing a dir. Tell me what's inside of there. You're going to get a lot of this information back. And initially it can be something that's kind of off-putting. I mean, it's like a lot of information, and why do I need this? They've changed the default in 2012 to be a little more user-friendly, but in short, this is exactly the same thing that you're going to see in PowerShell here in just a second when we go over that. So I'm going to go ahead and jump over there now. Before we even start doing PowerShell for SQL Server, I'm just going to show you some basic PowerShell. So this first line, get WMI object, that's a command line. So I'm saying, hey, I want to go get something from the WMI, the Windows Management Instrumentation. And this is a boring demo it would probably seem, but really I'm just going to call the Win32 service, pass a computer name as localhost, so go get me all the services off my local machine. That's like going into control or administrative tools and checking services. So when I do that, I'll go ahead and move my screen around. It'll go back and get this information, and it gives me a ton of stuff on here, right? Just a ton of different services that are installed on my machine. What we can do is we can take these, every single one of these, see how they're coming back. Let me see if I can scroll back up to SQL. There's one of my SQL ones. Right here. Okay. So here's one of my SQL ones. Well, I'm going to say, you know what? I don't want all the services. Let me get the SQL ones. So I'm going to take the output of this, and I'm going to use the pipe command. And I'm going to say, take all your results from here, take all the results from here, and then pipe it to this command. And I'm going to go ahead and just highlight this first part, and I'm going to skip this last pipe here for a second. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let me go ahead and clear my screen. I'm going to go ahead and do that and I've got a shorter list. Now I've got just my SQL SQL services coming back. All right, so it filtered down results. So now I'm going to say, all right, now that I've got just the SQL ones, well, I want specific information off of them. I want the system name, the machine that it's coming from, because instead of putting in localhost, I could put comma and then put dev SQL 02 or something like that. I can put a comma-separated list of machine names, and I can call this command across multiple machines at once. So if I do that, I'm going to want to know which machine it's coming back from. And so I'm getting that system name here and then the name of the service. And let me, in these other columns that will be self-explanatory once I run it. And then I'm taking all that and saying, select that. I want to go get those properties. And then format table auto size just means make it a little pretty and make it more like a table like SQL Server people are used to. So right now this is coming back in what's called format list. So it's coming back one service at a time in a list. And so we're going to go, say, come back in a format table. And so here it comes back, and it's a lot more like what we're used to seeing, which is tabular data coming back. So here are all the SQL services on my machine. We can see that it's start mode. Some of them are manual, some of them are auto, some of them are disabled. We can see the start name or the service account that's running them, and the name of the specific service. And then again, if we had called it from multiple machines, then we'd be able to see that information over here. We'll go down to the next example here and just show you, just like I said, I can call it with, I can pass in multiple machine names. Now, I'm not going to be able to show you multiple machines in a demo like this, but what I can do is I can say localhost, and then I can say 127.0.0.1, which is a reference back to the local machine itself. So I'm just going to call the local machine itself twice. And before I even do that, I'm going to say take these two machines and take this list and put it into a variable. This is a PowerShell variable here, the $sign. So instead of the @ symbol, it's the $sign. The difference with PowerShell is inside of your session, what you set a variable to persists. And even before that, you see that I'm not even having to say declare the variable. I'm not having to give it a data type. It's going to infer the data type for me. It knows that this variable, bunch of servers, doesn't even exist yet. So when I say set bunch of servers equal to this, it's saying, all right, well, I don't have a variable named bunch of servers, so I'm going to go ahead and create one for you. I'm going to set it to this, and this looks like some text, and it might be in an array, or it might just be a bunch of text. Or if it's a number, it's going to know that it's a number, and it's going to assign it the data type of a number.